Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Retro Tech Talk podcast, and this episode has sure been long delayed. So, yeah, this is actually our third attempt shooting episode 3. We did it once before with Enzo, and then once before with Tim, and if you're wondering why we don't have Arno on, Arno is normally the primary host for the show, but unfortunately, Arno's been pretty busy recently, and we haven't really had much time to get together to shoot any more episodes of it, so he'll be back on in the future at some point, hopefully, but for now, it's going to be Enzo for today's stream. So I'd like to thank Enzo for volunteering to participate in today's episode of Retro Tech Talk. And so first of all, before we get started, I'd like to quickly go ahead and mention that we do have a Twitter page now, so if you haven't already checked it out, I will put a link down in the description. It should be at RTT Podcast, but just in case I got that wrong, check down in the description. That will be the link, the direct link to the Twitter profile. So check that out.
Yeah, that's correct.
Also, be sure to subscribe to both Arno and I's main channels, and be sure to subscribe here, as we plan on posting more of these episodes whenever we can. Hopefully, it will be on a more regular schedule moving on from now. But that aside, let's go ahead and get started. So, in today's stream, we're going to be talking about something that's kind of important in our community to talk about. It's not necessarily the funnest topic, but I feel like it's important, and we sort of have a responsibility as members of the vintage computer and Macintosh community to sort of talk a bit about this, and that is eBay prices. I know nothing apparently has changed. Oh, what the hell? Okay, so we lost our video for a second there, so I apologize. There's a bit of a little
yeah. So the camera went out.
Yeah,
Logan.
a little happy accident there. But anyway, what I was trying to say is on today's stream, if you just forget that happened, we are going to be talking about eBay prices of vintage computers. And first of all, I'm sure if anybody's been on eBay and has tried to buy any kind of vintage Mac or PC or pretty much any computer at this point, you might have noticed that the prices are a little bit ridiculous. And it
sucks.
First of all, I'd like to just go ahead and give an example of just how bad it's getting from personal experience here. So about a year and a half ago in May of 2020, I purchased, or it might have even been April 2020 actually, that's when it was. I purchased a original Macintosh mouse, like, you know, just the standard here. I actually have it right down here.
Logan, no. Logan, no. No.
Just a standard ADB mouse, okay, you know.
It's not an ADB mouse, by the way.
9-pin mouse, by the way. You know, just single button Macintosh mouse. You know what you'd use with like a plus 128K, 512K, etc., etc. I paid about $30, I think, including shipping, for that mouse right there. It was not expensive at all. Hell, it might have even been free shipping. I think it was free shipping. Contrast this to today. If you go on eBay now and you try to find that exact same mouse, you're gonna be lucky to get it for under $100, and that's just in a year and a half. So imagine like 2 or 3 years down the line, you know, what the prices are going to be just for that specific device there. This would be an issue if the stock of ADB mice was, you know, rapidly just disappearing. But these, first of all, these things are ubiquitous, and there's so many of them out there. There were so many 128Ks, pluses, 512Ks combined sold, and there are so many of these mouses that exist out there. And I bet you the stock of them that still exist has not declined that much in the past year and a half, but yet the prices are shooting up. And this is sort of an issue we've seen across the board, just in general, regardless of the specific product. I mean, if you look at Macintosh Pluses, Mac Classics, Commodore 64s, Apple IIs, just everything, and even it's starting to affect some of the less desirable computers, like the Performa 6000s, or is that what it is? The 6000s, 6200s?
I think, yeah.
Like the little pizza box Performa machines. Nobody wants those, really, but yet you're still not going to be able to find one for under $100. So, you know, there's just a lot of gouging going on with pricing, and it's just kind of getting ridiculous. So,
I was gonna say something.
Yeah, so go ahead.
This mouse here, the Macintosh mouse, is the bane of my existence. I hate it just because it's so inflated. Like, I don't even know. Maybe the Macintosh mouse is like the best mouse ever invented by man, and it's like the greatest mouse to hold in your hand. But I hate it because it's so fucking expensive, and you have to. I don't even own one. I own a bootleg mouse. There's like this one I found on eBay that was like a third-party Macintosh mouse, and that's the only one I have that works for my Plus. And I'm probably just gonna keep it that way. I don't want to buy one.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
And there's really only one thing.
It's probably okay. Hold on. It's probably even just cheaper to buy an Amiga tank mouse and then wire it to work on the.
I think you can do that. I think you can do that actually. Well, no.
Yes, someone did it.
And too, it's sort of just an issue that we've seen across the board, and I think the main thing to blame for it is just simply the fact that a lot of people are starting to get into this vintage computer stuff for whatever strange reason, and a lot of people want this stuff, and you know what that means? That means that people who want money and don't care about this vintage computer stuff are going to try to find it for cheap, and they're going to try to flip it and make a lot of money, because that's what you always see. It doesn't matter if we're talking vintage video games here, consoles or whatever, gaming consoles, smartphones that just came out. It doesn't matter. If you look across the board, it's any kind of hobby or any kind of desirable item. There's always going to be some person that's going to try to find one for cheap, and is going to try to charge way too much money for it because they know people want it. And it's gotten to the point in the vintage computer community, and it's the same way in a lot of other places.
Oh, gosh.
Your only options are to pay somebody like that for the product. You can't find it anywhere else because everyone is trying to make ridiculous amounts of money. And see, when people who aren't aware of the pricing and stuff and aren't trying to sell it for a lot of money go on there to see how much they can get for it, they're going to see all these $500 Macintosh mouse, $100 Macintosh mouse, $130 Macintosh mouse. They're going to be like, oh well, $100 is a reasonable price for one. So now it's going to start becoming the new trend that this particular item, in this case here, these Macintosh mice, are going to be selling for $100, which is completely ridiculous. I mean, who's going to pay $100 for a computer mouse? I mean, that's basically what this is, whether it's Apple or collectible or not. It's a computer mouse for a 30-year-old computer that doesn't even have a hard drive, has an 800K floppy drive, and is a pain in the ass to get stuff onto. So why are we paying $100 for these? Someone explain this to me. Anyway, you sounded like we were going to say something, so...
Yes, okay, so this is not really having anything to do with computers in a way, but it has something to do with Atari. So, the game Adventure? Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good game. Like a pretty good Atari game. So, when the movie Ready Player Out, it became so expensive. It was, so expensive, and you couldn't even get it for, whenever that movie was popular, you basically could not get it.
Exactly. And see, that's
because it was $2 billion.
Something becomes desirable, something becomes either popular or it becomes pop culture or whatever. People want it. So, people see, oh, well, a lot of people are looking for adventure games right now. So I'm going to buy, a pack of 5 for whatever from some random person who doesn't know what it's worth for $5, and I'm going to flip them on eBay or Craigslist or whatever for $500. And, that's trends. So, that's sort of the issue that we're seeing going on here within this hobby of ours that is causing it to become so unreachable for so many people, and is causing the barrier of entry to go up. Because no one wants to pay $400 for a Macintosh Plus. No one wants to pay $400 for a Macintosh Classic, but you can't find them any cheaper anymore. So, it's getting to the point where really the only way that you can expand your collection anymore is just to be super diligent and just look and look and look and look and look until you finally find a deal or something. And it's just no one wants to have to spend all their day on eBay looking for something like that. So yeah, it's kind of a shame, but I mean, I don't see any way really that other than just making people aware of what they should and shouldn't pay for this stuff. Yeah. And it's not even...
This is also one of the main reasons I've stopped collecting video games, because at least with video games you can just download them, because most emulators, especially if you're gonna play really old games, they work fine.
That's the thing too.
And then, then with computers, they're a lot more complicated. Yeah, we've gotten to the point where you can emulate Commodore 64 pretty well, but some of the more advanced platforms like PC, they still need a bit of work to get. You can get most of the games working, but there's still a few problems. With that. And also just emulation of other oddware.
Yeah, and
stuff like that.
The thing too is that really, at this point, you don't even really have to buy the computer to experience the computer. I mean, you can emulate a Macintosh 2 or a Macintosh... Okay, well, that was weird. Sorry, the other camera cut out, so both cameras have cut out. We're on a streak here. Anyway, so what I was trying to say before that all happened is, you know, we've pretty much gotten to the point where with the computer power, the computing power that we have, you know, in 2021, you know, for the most part, there's no real reason to have to get, you know, a 30-year-old computer to experience the 30-year-old computer. I mean, you can emulate Windows 95 on VirtualBox, you can download Mini VMac and, you know, emulate a Macintosh 2 or a Mac Plus or something like that, and you can download Sheepshaver and emulate like a late 90s PowerPC machine, and, you know, vice for the Commodore 64. So you can experience all these computers on, you know, the modern things, you know, modern machines.
Yeah.
You don't get the full experience. Like, sure, you can basically do anything you'd ever want to do on a Macintosh 2 and way more, you know, in Mini VMac, but it's not as fun as being able to actually sit down and turn on the real hardware and have the real physical experience of sitting in front of, you know, a Macintosh 2 or a Macintosh Plus or a Classic, you know, have the real keyboard and mouse experience. That's sort of the main reason that we even still bother with the old stuff in the first place, is because it's fun. But, you know, I feel like a lot of people moving on forward in this hobby aren't really going to be able to experience that as much as we did, or the people who got into this before us did, because you can't buy it anymore for, you know, less than $400 in some cases for common computers. So just one message here I want to put out there to anybody who is scalping on eBay. Why are you intentionally...
I thought you were going to say something else.
Well, what I want to say is that, but I can't put that on YouTube. So what I also want to say is, why are you making this hobby more difficult for us, and why are you selfish, greedy little bastards?
Because money.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. I'm sorry.
So, yeah. What I'd like to just quickly do here, before we end off, first of all, hold on, let me double check and make sure I get the URL right.
The thing I really want to say here is that if you want to avoid, this seems pretty... From most of my collection I have, which is a lot of machines, I've usually got locally. And I've usually had very good luck with local, because just from what I've seen, I've usually got pretty good deals locally compared to eBay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just just people local are more likely to sell you something for less money or some shit like that. But I've usually gotten better deals for local stuff than just on eBay in general. So that's just my recommendation to new people who want to collect this stuff. Just buy local. Go on Craigslist and find Macintosh or DOS PC or something like that on Craigslist. Commodore 64.
My internet is
for whatever you want. If it's more scary, you're probably gonna have to,
Alright, so my internet is like dial-up right now. I'm gonna pull it up on the mobile app because, you know, I want to be able to, as part of being a vintage computer content creator and being a part of the community, I would like to sort of try my best to help people avoid scams.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try to help people know what stuff is really worth. And so first of all, while I'm pulling the URL up that I'm trying to find, because I forgot it. First of all, if you are not already aware of what a computer really is, what it's really worth, how rare it really is, if you come across any eBay listing that says super rare, vintage, rare, blah blah blah, etc., 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 it's probably not rare. It's probably going to be vintage because, you know, it's a vintage computer. But if anything says rare in capital letters or very uncommon or whatever, I would suggest you don't give them your money, because they are probably trying to entice you. And also, always do your research before buying something. And finally, make sure you know what stuff is really worth. That's the most important part. And you might be getting into, how do you know what stuff is really worth? For one, I'm probably going to be making a video very shortly that goes into detail on sort of what I would assume to be sort of, you know, the reasonable prices for computers. But also, there's a few other resources I can point you to. For one, go check out my friend Oz RetroComp's videos called Australian Retro Computing Market, something like that report. You'll have to obviously convert that. Actually, never mind. I probably shouldn't recommend that because that's not really accurate for America. Anyway, and also I'd like to point you to a website from my friend Steve, who runs the great YouTube channel Mac84. You should subscribe to him. He has a awesome website he's currently working on it. So the information might still be a little bit off, but he's working on it. It's called applepriceguide.com, and you can sort of select a machine on there, and it can show you exactly how much that machine should generally sell for on average. And that is a very good resource to have if you aren't already familiar with what you should or shouldn't be paying for a certain computer. Also, I would suggest trying to find other sources than eBay. If you want, go on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and see if you can get a deal there. I mean, those are probably more likely places to find someone who isn't exactly knowledgeable on what they really have, because eBay is pretty much just all I want to make money collector stuff at this point. That's what most of the stuff you're going to find on eBay is. But anyway, you were going to say something, Enzo, too, while I was trying to sort of...
Alright, so I was going to say, until Logan interrupted me, is that you should buy locally. But I was gonna prove my point. So I'm going here on Craigslist.com right now, and I searched Commodore. I've already found 2 VIC-20s that have their, or at least, yeah, 2 VIC-20s here. These are 2 separate computers, both with their box, both for like $100. So
wow.
You could buy these.
Buy a Commodore 64 that much, or for that much anyway.
Yeah, and then there's this one. Here's a Commodore 64 here. It comes with 3 hard drives. I don't know if that's just like if they're just talking about the floppy drives or what they're talking about. Plus some games and some manuals and stuff. And it's a make an offer, so could be whatever. Yeah, and there's some other stuff. So yeah, so you should try looking local, because there's a lot of good some stuff you can actually find going local.
Yeah.
And like here's apparently I just found this.
Anyway, so I'm gonna.
There's a Amiga Blue box.
My camera's about to die, and we're running close to the time limit for this episode. But basically, the summary of this is: don't fall for eBay scams. Be sure to do your research, and we really need to also try to figure out how we can sort of try to lower the prices. I know that's a big thing to ask, but we really need, everyone in this community just needs to do their part, do their research. Don't pay these people who are trying to scam. That's how they succeed. And with that said, I'd like to thank you guys all for watching today's episode of Retro Tech Talk. I'd also like to thank my friend Enzo for volunteering to participate here, even though he didn't really get to say too much. I'm sorry about that. And
that's fine.
Also, I don't know if Enzo has any social media. If he wants, then I'll put it.
I have a Twitter. Other than that, I really have nothing else. So I'll just put my Twitter here.
Okay, we'll put his Twitter down in the description.
You can message me on Discord, because I'm on Logan's server.
Also, be sure to check out our Twitter thing, as I mentioned in the. Did I mention it? No. If I didn't mention it earlier, we have a Twitter now. It should be at RTT Podcast. I'll put it in the link in the description as well. Check out both Arno and I's YouTube channels. We both do stuff over there. So if you're new here and you don't already watch those, be sure to check those out. And also be sure to subscribe here. It helps out a lot with sort of doing this podcast. And with that out of the way, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'd like to thank our guest today. The camera is starting to die. And so,
no camera.
I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.
Bye.